Hi, this is Jessica Fox from Florida Virtual Bookkeeper to talk about an overview about 17 Hats. A lot of bookkeepers come and ask me, why is 17 Hats so popular? Why do you love it so much? It's not an app that's designed specifically for accountants and bookkeepers, so why would it be good for somebody like us? So, to get started, just a little bit about me. I am a virtual bookkeeper specializing in small service-based businesses using cloud accounting software. I wrote a book. I am very passionate about efficiency via systems and workflows, and I've been in the field for quite a while. I started in 2001. I've been self-employed since 2010. I've been 100% paperless and virtual since 2016, and I've been a 17 Hats user since April of 2018. And I've also, around the same time, I started to mentor other and training other bookkeepers on how to have an efficient and organized practice. So why 17 Hats? There are lots of practice management apps and project management and workflow softwares that are specific for accountants. So why did I choose this one? Well, I found that it was the best fit for me. While I tried a lot of the apps that were specific for accountants, they all seemed to be lacking something. Either I didn't feel like the value was there. They, may have good features, but for the price, I didn't feel like I was getting that much, or it just wasn't helpful for me. So 17 Hats, it's offers so many features. You can have your CRM, your workflow automation, your templates, your contract signatures, everything in one place. So it reduces the number of apps that you need to have, which if you've been at this for a while, you can probably agree with me that it can get overwhelming when you have so many different apps to run your business. So before I found 17 Hats, I felt like I was burning the candle out of both ends. I had too many apps for too many different things, and I've just had so many windows open on my browser to keep track of everything and having to jump back and forth between all of them. Since I've set it up, I save hours per week in administrative time. And when I go into the details, I'll give some examples of where the time savings have been. So even though I have more clients now this year than I did last year, I actually work less hours because I don't have to waste so much time on the administrative stuff. So this gives me the opportunity to A, take more clients, or B, take more time off. And you could do the same. You decide what's best for you. So 17 Hats have lots of features, and I will go over some of the main ones in this video. This slide is not comprehensive, it's just some of the main ones, but as you can see, it has a lot of cool features that can help you. I will not go into detailing all of them. One thing that I will say is the bookkeeping module is not something that is really designed for bookkeepers. I will tell you this much. This app was designed for freelancers, and if they're not using QuickBooks or other software and they need to track their bookkeeper, that's the purpose of the app. So it's not something that I will be going over today. If you still bill by hour, you can track time here. It can integrate with QuickBooks Online. So this part is the integration is on invoices. So that if you create an invoice in 17 Hats, it will send the information automatically to QBO. You don't have to worry about doing anything else. If you have a team, you can have 17 Hats supports team permissions up to 5 team members, and you can have different levels of permissions from basic to admin. You can have multiple brands. Many of us are freelancers and we may have several revenue streams that are not necessarily related. So if you're a bookkeeper, but you also may do training or you may do consulting that's not under your bookkeeping business per se, you can have a separate brand for the same price. It's all included, and it can have its own logo, branding, workflows, and all the information completely separate, and you can easily switch back and forth. I have found 17 Hats to be very secure. I actually had a while back compared the security policy between QuickBooks Online and 17 Hats, and 17 Hats is stronger. Believe it or not, that surprised me. The one thing that I wish that they had, that I hope that they'll add in the future, is two-factor authentication. So this means you have to be very careful about your password being unique and strong and changing it often. But other than that, in terms of the encryption, I found it to be very secure. So just to give you an idea of the different ways that you can customize 17 hats, you can have it match your branding style. So there's a whole section about brand preferences where you can customize it so that it fits what the brand for your business is. You can integrate your email. I use G Suite, and my G Suite email is seamlessly connected with 17 hats. You can integrate your calendar. I, once again, use G Suite for my calendar, so my Google Calendar is seamlessly integrated with 17 hats, including multiple calendars, not just one. They do offer online scheduling. This is a brand new feature as of just a few months ago, so it's very exciting. So if you're currently using Calendly or Acuity or something else, this can potentially eliminate that app and have one less app in your stack. You can create products and services to use when you're building proposals. It's very easy for you to add the different services that you offer and customize it as needed without having to always start from scratch. And like I had mentioned earlier, you can have multiple brands. So 17 hats, in order to understand how the data is managed, visualize a file cabinet. Think back to your paper days. 17 hats is your file cabinet drawer. When you open the drawer, there are hanging folders. Each hanging folder is a contact. It could be a client, it could be a prospect. And inside of the hanging folder for the contract is a manila folder for the project. And you can have multiple projects per contact. And everything is organized automatically and beautifully into place. So going back to branding, things that you can customize, your logo, your favicon. This is a little icon that shows up in the top of the browser. Like if you have different tabs and you can see what the website in the tab is, that's what that is. The subdomain, because you do have all these things hosted in 17 hats, so you can customize to your business name, 17hats.com. Your colors, you can have whatever color scheme is in your website or your marketing materials matched in 17 hats. Same with the fonts. And also the text. By the text, I am referring what things are called. If you call your estimates proposal, you can make sure that all of your documents like that say proposal in them. If you call your contracts engagement letters, you can make sure that everywhere in the buttons and in the headings for the contracts, it says engagement letters. So it has a pretty good amount of customization. So for the client, it's a smooth, standard experience with your brand. Calendars. The beauty about 17 hats is that you can have an at-a-glance view of your day, including the client's to-do, any business meetings, personal events, should you have chosen to integrate that, and any other calendars that you connect. So you can sync with external calendars. In this example, I have Google calendars connected. You can have multiple calendars. As you can see, I have 3 different Google calendars connected, in addition to 3 different 17 hats ones. And they're all color-coded, so that when I am looking at my calendar, I can at a glance see what's for. I have my personal calendar connected, so if I have a doctor's appointment, I can see I cannot schedule a meeting at that time. I can see my business calendar for any meetings, webinars, or any other thing like that that's related to the business, but not necessarily yet to do. GQs is a task tracking app that I use for everything in my life, not just business. So I want to see any tasks that I may have scheduled via GQs in 17 hats to make sure that I don't double book myself. And in 17 hats, I have different calendars. You can have 1 or you can have 10. Whatever works for you. I found that I like having a leads calendar for when somebody's not yet a client. That way, when I am working, their stuff is not distracting me. My to-do. And then a book calendar that's for online bookings. For somebody use the online scheduling, it shows up in that color. So this is a view of the calendar in month view. As you can see, I had to gray out a lot of stuff because you don't need to see anybody's personal information. But as you can see, it's color-coded. You can change the view to see things by month, by week, by day. You can view all calendars at once, and they're color-coded like this. Or you can filter and just see one calendar at a time, because I know some days it can get overwhelming. So if I really need to focus on productivity, sometimes I only look at my to-do calendar. So contacts, here you can track all contacts, your leads, clients, and other. So these are the options that you have for a contact. You can have a hot lead, somebody that you're currently in communications with that are trying to close the deal with. A cold prospect is somebody that may become a client someday. They show interest, but they're not ready. Or it may have been somebody that was a hot lead that disappeared on you or said, not now. You can still track that. A client is somebody that you're currently working with, and other, somebody that's none of the above. And you can show them as companies. You can use tags to help you organize them. And then you can have additional fields to track their information, including optional custom fields. And I will go into more detail about custom fields later, but this is just an example of what a contact can look like, and one example of how I use tags. I use a tag based on where they came from. In this particular example, they came to me from the QBO Pro Advisor directory, and I use a tag for their type of business. In this particular example, they're a nonprofit. I may also use a tag for the year, just to know what year they came to me. Normally, I use that tag for their projects, though. But you can customize it to whatever makes sense for you, and that's the beauty of it. So you can also add related contacts. This is good for when you need to have the information for the client's tax preparer, if somebody else is doing their taxes, business partners, or their admins. So say that I have a client that obviously they are the business owner, they are the one that signed the contract, but they want all updates and requests for information to go to the administrative assistant. I can add a related contact and enter that information in here so that it's linked to that project, and I don't have to go somewhere else to pull up that information or remember who they are. So custom fields. This is one of the things that I love most about 17 Hats to make it really work for us in the bookkeeping and accounting industry. You can make the app work for you by storing and displaying the information you need when you need it. There are two types of custom fields. There are custom fields in contacts, and then they're in projects. Custom fields can be used in lead capture forms and questionnaires, and they are also available as tokens to be inserted into emails and contracts. And I will go into more detail about what tokens are later on, but this is just a sample of some of the custom fields that I use. Project custom fields will show up whenever you open the project. It's really visible, so I use it for information that I need to be able to access at a glance. So I use things like what their business type is, what the scope of service is. I like being able to see what their bank and liability accounts are at a glance, and any other information that you may want to track. So this is a sample of custom fields being used in a project, and I have highlighted the ones that are my custom fields. When I open the project, I can see at a glance how much this client generates in revenue per month. What are the specific services that I provide for that client? What their business type is. I can see at a glance which type of accounts I am tracking. And I also like seeing what my responsibilities are in terms of compliance. You may be responsible for their payroll tax or their sales tax. This is something that I like to track. You don't have to if you like to keep it separately, but this is just an example of the possibilities of what this can do for you. So lead capture forms. This is an easy way to collect information about your prospects to help you convert them into clients. So you probably have a website, and it probably has a contact form. You currently get the information in a contact form, and then you have to enter it somewhere else, whether it be your CRM or into your email contacts, and take it from there. With a lead capture form 17 Hats, that can be embedded in your website, and it will automatically get the process started for you. It will remove that delay and that data entry step. So you can embed them on your website. You can link to them in social media. You can use them as a landing page. And they are very customizable. You can have multiple lead capture forms for different things. So for example, I have a lead capture form for my website, but when I hold special presentations or webinars, I create a separate lead capture form to track those attendees. So you can have notifications via your choice of email or text message whenever somebody fills out the form. You can have an auto response sent. You can choose what calendar it goes to, what workflow is assigned, and I will go into more details about workflow later on. And you can tell it what to do when the person submits. Do they get a confirmation message? Does it redirect them to some other page? You can add tags. So in this particular example, this is my website contact form. And you can adjust the form colors to fit your branding. So if you press the sync button, it will fit your brand's branding. So it's great if you're inserting that in your website. But if you have an opportunity to link your lead capture form somewhere else that may have a different color scheme, you can adjust that here. So you have a variety of question types that you can use in a lead form. Here's the sample of the options that you have available. You can have a short answer, like, what is your name? A long answer, like, write a paragraph about what it is exactly that you've been struggling with, or what businesses do you want? Yes or no. You can have sections with text and subtitles. You can select a date, select from a list, check boxes. These are good for what you're interested in. And you can map those fields to things in 17 hats. So, for example, the full name maps to the lead name in the contact. The business name maps to the company name. You can make fields optional or required. And you can map some things to project notes. So that way, whatever you type in that section, it will show up in the notes for that project. And you have a lot of possibilities on how to make this work for you. So this is a sample of what that form looked like. Once again, you can change the fonts, you can change the colors. These are the different embed options. And then we go to workflows. So the beauty about workflows is that they may feel like a pain in the neck to set up. Trust me, I really dreaded the process of setting them up. I was a little clueless at first. But for every hour that you spend today setting up your workflows, you'll save hundreds of hours in the future. I really buckled down and set my workflows down in 2018. And like I said, I work less hours now serving more clients because my workflows have really cut down on my admin time. And they also make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. And bonus, my clients are blown away by how efficient and professional everything is. So there are stages to your client journey. Workflows can be overwhelming to implement, so it helps to break it down into bite-sized pieces and take it one stage at a time. So the stages of the client journey, in very simplistic terms, is there a lead or a prospect? Then say, yes, I want to hire you. So you go through the onboarding process, and then you deliver the service, the fulfillment stage. So it helps if you sit down and reflect with a notepad or whatever you like to write with, and think, when somebody contacts you as a lead, what do you do? And write that as a bullet list. When you're onboarding a client, what do you do? And write that as a bullet list. That includes any emails you may send them, phone calls or meetings you may schedule, information that you may request, things that you may need to do in the back to set up their file. And once you create that list, congratulations, you have your first draft for your workflow. And then it's just a matter of setting up in whatever software that you choose. So this is an example of a lead management workflow. The possibilities are endless. They can be as simple or as complex as you like them to be. It can be a manual checklist, or it can be an almost automated process. So in this example, this person went to my website, they filled out the contact form, and because it's a 17 hats lead capture form, it automatically creates the contact, the projects, and activates the lead workflow in 17 Hats. I can be sleeping, I can be on vacation, I don't have to be anywhere near the computer for this to happen. It automatically sends them a personalized email using the tokens from the lead capture form data. So it will say, hi, Jane Doe, or whatever name they enter. Thank you for your interest. I am look forward to learning more about your business name, whatever I may have written. And in my workflow, it encourages them to click on my scheduling link so that we can have a time to chat and have the discovery call. So without me doing anything, the prospect got the email. They click on the email, they book their appointment. All I need to do is wait until the appointment and show up, which is usually via Zoom. So my calendar will pop out a reminder. I'll click on the link, turn on my webcam, and say hello. So once I have the discovery call with that person and they agree to move forward, I go back to 17 Heads, and the next step in my workflow is to send a proposal with a contract attached. And because I have a template, which I will talk a little bit more about templates later on, it's only a few clicks. I open, there's the template, I customize what the pricing or services are based on what we discussed, and I send it. And then the client will click on it, they will review the proposal, they will accept it, they will sign the agreement, and then I celebrate and just click one button to start the onboarding workflow, and then it starts all over again. It really saves a lot of time, and it ensures that you have a consistent and professional experience. So how do you create a workflow? You simply just give it a name, assign it to any of the calendars that you have or just your default one, and then you just start adding the steps. You can add to do. These are like a checklist item, things that once you do, you just click on it to give it a check mark. And action is to take advantage of 17 Hats automation sending things. So it can send emails, questionnaires, invoices, proposals, contracts. And in these actions, you can have it sent automatically, meaning once it gets to that step of the workflow, it will automatically send it, or you can send it to review. In that way, you can tweak it, change the wording, do whatever you need to do, and then send it, making sure that is what you need to do. And a pause, it's places that you can add like placeholders in your workflow for when you're waiting on something. So for example, if you send the information to the client, you can add a pause so that your calendar won't show the next step as due until they respond. So, and then you can break your workflows down into different phases and stages to keep it visually organized. So this is a sample of one of my workflows. This is a training workflow. When I activate this workflow, the first step is to send a questionnaire about their training needs. Right now, I have it set to approve, so that's why I get the little review icon. I just click review, make sure it looks the way I want it to look, and just click send. I could have chosen to have it sent automatically, but I like to have the freedom to modify it. Then there's a waiting period. Once they reply, I send them the quote. This quote will have the agreement and the invoice. So once everything is done, this step is completed. When you're sending multiple documents, you can specify when does it count as done? When you sent it, when the client accepted the quote, when they assigned the agreement, when they paid the invoice. So once they pay the invoice, that is automatically marked done for me. And then I know I need to conduct the training. Now, something that you don't see in here is that in the email that goes with that previous step includes the link for them to schedule the training. So I don't have to worry about sending that as a separate step. Once I conduct the training, then I send the client feedback questionnaire. This is something that I like to do. Not everybody does that. And it's like, how was the training? Were you satisfied? Did I answer your questions? What could be better? Will you recommend me to somebody else? Which is something that I always encourage that you do so that you can improve your service and easily collect testimonials as you go. So templates. One of my biggest efficiency rules is never to write the same thing twice. So in 17 Hats, you can build a library of templates as you go. I have felt like some people feel like they have to write all their templates and have them all created and ready to go before they can go into business. Yes, you can, but that's a hassle and you cannot anticipate everything. The beauty of templates in 17 Hats is that, yes, you can have a library and as you go, you write something new, you can save it as a template with just a couple of clicks. So it is a great time saver. You can create templates for emails, for quotes, estimates, for invoices, for contracts, for questionnaires. You can add the tokens to the templates so that it will personalize them automatically for you. So that way in the email, it will specifically, it will include the client's name, the name of the project, the name of their company. It can be, the tokens can be custom fields. So everything, from their perspective, it looks like you wrote it specifically for them. And they don't realize that the software did it all for you. So you can create templates as you go. Whenever you are working on any document, there is a little checkbox to say that you select Save as Template, and you can give it a name. You can take an existing template, duplicate it, and then edit it to make it into something completely different. There is a template marketplace where you can purchase templates. And you can also import templates from other users. Or if you have different brands, you can take the templates from one of your brands and import them into the other one with just a couple of clicks. So in terms of your templates, this is the types that you can have. As I had mentioned earlier, you have the import button, you have the click template button for creating new ones, and you can filter them. If once your list of templates gets long, you can filter by type or you can just search by name. So it helps to have good nomenclature for your templates. I like to use the stages that they're in. So like lead template, what it's for, fulfillment, what it's for, etc. But you do whatever speaks to you. So this is an example of an email template. You can set different types of emails. That could be a quote email. It means it's the email that will include a quote attached, a contract email, a questionnaire email, a lead autoresponder, scheduling, or just a regular email. A regular email means that it doesn't even need to be attached to a workflow or to any other document. You can just click new email, select the template, and boom, off you go. So this is just a sample of what it would look like. So the name is the name in the files, what you would look for it later on. So I call it onboarding, review, next steps, because that's what in my mind, the keywords that I would use when I am searching for it. The subject is what the client sees. And these fields here are the tokens that I was talking about. So the tokens are great to automatically personalize all of your forms like I've been talking about. You can have tokens in the subject line, or you can have them in the body of the document. And custom fields that you create are available as tokens. So as you can see in here, I can select any of these and drop them anywhere that I want in the document. So for example, in this document, which is a change order, it automatically fills in the client's company name, the date of the contract creation, the name of the project, what the scope of service is, what the rate is, anything else you want. The possibilities are endless. So quotes, like I was mentioning earlier, you can send custom proposals for all your prospects that they can review and accept electronically. You can create the quote from scratch, or you can have a template. You can have different templates. So like I have a default quote that I modify to whatever I need. And then I have one for recurring services. And I have another one for one-time projects. You can combine the type of items that you offer. You can have fixed price item. So this is what you get. This is how much it's going to be. You can have choose one type items. This is good if you offer value pricing type packages where you may have 3 packages to choose from and they have to choose one. And choose any, which for me are the add-ons, the bells and the whistles that if you want this, click, if not, keep scrolling. And you can have all of them in one document. You can attach a contract. So the moment that they accept it, they can sign the agreement at the same time. They don't have to wait for you to send that information. You can add discounts. You can attach the invoice. You can save your products and services as you go. So then you don't have to type everything all over. You just add in what you're doing, maybe a diagnostics review or book setup or cleanup or monthly services. And if needed, you can create new items on the fly and save them for future use. So this is a sample of what an estimate looks like. This is from my Sandbox brand. It's a separate brand that I have just to play around with. That's why the logo is really big test and the branding is very different, is so that I don't accidentally use this brand for my main operations. But as you can see, this is a standard item and what it looks like, and then the select type items and the additional options. And here at the top, you can see that there's the proposal, the engagement letter, the invoice, and the client can just select on the bottom. So then they accepted your proposal. Now get them to sign the contract while they're still excited about it. And that's the beauty of having e-signatures. They can sign at the same time. So on your contracts, you can customize it. You can, once again, use templates. You can insert tokens. You can have form fields, so you can collect information, like you want them to type in whatever their mailing address is, or where to send notices, or to collect any other data. You can have multiple people sign the same contract if you're using related contacts. So for example, it's a partnership and you want all of the partners to sign. It can be done. It can be attached to a quote, or you can send it by itself. And you can select about your signature. Do you need to sign? Do you want to sign when you send the contract? Do you want to countersign after the client? All of those options are available. Invoices. I only really use 17 Hats to invoice for either startup costs for a project or one-time projects, because I use recurring payment agreements for everything else. But this helps me get paid right away. The invoice can be automatically created from a quote. So if your quote has different items that the client may choose to add or not add, you don't have to remember or worry about coming back and taking that information and creating an invoice. 17 Hats will automatically create it based on what the client selected. You can have templates for it. You can have recurring invoices if you do bill monthly. It's not something that I do anymore, but that option is there. You can offer payment plans. So say you're quoting a really big project for, say, a cleanup that's several $1,000s, and you want to bill in installments, you can do that. You can do equal payments divided equally based on however many installments you want, whatever frequency you choose, or you can do custom payments, like say you want 50% in advance and then 25% payments. That is an option. You can connect to different online payment processors and get paid online. 17 Hats integrates with Stripe, Square, PayPal, Authorize.net, which is usually what connects to whatever the merchant account for most banks. And you can choose and connect whichever payment processor is best for you. And that automatically takes care of everything. So for example, if I have a client that they're a prospect, I talk to them, we need to do a review of their books, I can trigger a workflow to automatically send them a proposal for the review. They view it, they accept it, they sign the agreement, they pay for it. The money automatically shows up in my bank account. I can be sleeping. This has been known to happen when I am on vacation. I haven't done a thing. And all I need to do is later when I go to my desk, I see, oh, new client, new books reviews sold. They already paid, because the workflow sent them the instructions on how to invite me to their QuickBooks file. I already have access to their QuickBooks file. All I need to do is log on, do the review, and send the report. It's that easy. It's that beautiful. Whereas in the past, it would have been a whole big process. If somebody visits my website when I am sleeping, they will have to wait until the next business day until I get back to them. That's not the case anymore. So life cycles, this is an optional feature, but I like it because it gives me an at-a-glance view of where a project is in the sales cycle. And you can customize this life cycle to whatever you want it to be. You can have multiple ones. I like to use my standard life cycle is the journey of the client. They are lead, they're in the consultation state, proposal, contract, onboarding, establish. So this is not everybody uses it, but I like to use it when the client is beginning, because I can at a glance see where are we in the journey. To-do list. 17 hats, in addition to the usual workflows where you can select the tasks in the workflows and it shows up as a checklist in your to-dos in whatever date you assign, you can have a separate to-do list that's not related to a workflow. So if you need to remember to do anything, this is really good for compliance deadlines. Like you need to remember, oh, I need to process 1099s. You can enter that and add that to-do list. And you can have multiple to-do lists. You can associate them to different calendars. If you have a team, you can assign those to-dos to a team member. They do not have to be linked to a project, but they can also be created from inside a project. So one of the beautiful things about 17 hats is that regardless of every page that you're in, there is a quick look drawer. It's this little icon that's out of the way, unobtrusive on the right-hand corner of the screen. But when you click on that, it slides out an at-a-glance view of what you need to do and your calendar events. And it's beautiful because it doesn't matter which page you're in, you can always easily see what you need to be working on, what you have coming up. The dashboard. I love the dashboard. This is really what determines. It's the first thing that I look at when I go start working because I can see everything that I have going on in one place. It's Work Central. It gives you a calendar view of your next 5 days at a glance. It has a Let's Take Care of Business section with your to-do items, and it lets you know anything that may be past due. Say you sent out a contract and you set an expiration date on that contract for, say, 7 days, 14 days, whatever you like it to be, and it's late. It will let you know. If you have any to-do items that you have to be focusing on now or that are past due, it's in that section. If your email is connected, whenever you get an email from a client, 17 Hats extracts it and shows it in your dashboard as something that you know to reply. This is really good for those of us that if we were to be in our inbox, we get distracted by all the other stuff that comes in. If you have your email connected to 17 Hats, you can be working and not miss the emails from your prospects and your clients, and also not get distracted from the emails from the newsletters and the spam and your friends and all the other stuff that is very easy to get sidetracked with. So I really like this because that way I only check my email inbox twice a day, but I can still see and reply to client emails all day long. There is a little location tile that's, so that you can know what your weather is and the date and the time. You can see recent client activity and pending items, and I'll show some more details in the next few slides. So this is a bird's eye view of the dashboard with the different things that I was talking about. And then my favorite part is the Let's Take Care of Business part. It tells me everything that I have going on, how many to-do items, and if I click on any of the boxes, it extends it like this one. It shows me the specifics of the invoice, the name, the project, what the invoice is called, how much it's for, and I can expand it to all of this. So if I click on the email box, it will tell me what client and the subject line of the email is, and I can just click on it, read it, and reply all from inside 17 Hats. I don't have to jump back to my email to take care of that. The recent client activity is good because then you can see what's been going on. If a client has accepted any of the documents, you can see that. If they viewed something, they can see it. If you sent something to a client, you can see it all in place, and you can easily click See All Activity if you want to see more. The pending items lets you know what you have out there that's outstanding, contracts that haven't been signed, invoices that haven't been paid, quotes that haven't been accepted. You can view that all at a glance from your dashboard. So projects, like I had mentioned earlier at the beginning, projects is like the file folders inside of your contacts. You can have multiple projects per client. Like, for example, I may have a training project, a recurrent bookkeeping project, a books setup project, or you may opt to have all of them in one folder, whatever works best for you. But the beauty of it is that everything that is client related is in one place and organized automatically for you. So this is the project view. If you're using life cycles, the life cycle is right at the top, very graphical, easy view for you to see what's going on. You can see what's coming up in the next few days if you have any workflows coming. You can see important documents. These will be like your quotes and your contracts and your invoices, and you can see if they've been accepted, If they have not been sent, they will be in draft mode. If you have sent them, but the client hasn't replied, it will be incomplete. Any custom fields that you have set up for the project will show right at a glance. And then you have the additional information. So these are like the folders inside of the project. So you have notes, emails, files. A note about files, these are internal files, not files that the client sees. Your to-do items, any events, bookings if you're using the online scheduling, phone log. I love this because if I talk to the client, I like documenting our conversations and I just enter it here. Time log if you're doing time tracking, and then activity that it kind of keeps track of all the activity that has been done. So if you have multiple projects for the same contract, no big deal. You can have easily with the drop down, select a project. You can have archive projects where you can access and reactivate if needed, and you can create new projects. So in the project view, all emails are automatically filed with their corresponding project. So if you have multiple projects by a contract and you may need to reassign it, in the email, it's just a quick drop down and just select what project it belongs to, and it just puts it right there. And something that I had not mentioned earlier with emails is it does have read receipts. It's an optional feature. You can turn on or off, whatever you like. But I can see when my client read the email. So it's really good for when clients are trying to pretend they did not know about something. It comes in handy then. So the client portal, this is not the typical client portal that we think about when we think of accounting. It's an optional feature. But some people like it. In this client portal, the client does not have the ability to submit files to you, which is usually what we think about when we think about portals in bookkeeping. However, as you can see in this example, I added a link where they can just click here and it takes them to my actual secure portal where they can upload files. So this client portal is mainly like an informational thing for the client to see all of the documents associated with their project. So if they lost their contract, they can go to the client portal and view that information without having to contact you. You can turn this feature on or off. You can customize it. Like I just added a background photo of a calculator. You can change that photo to whatever you want it to be. And you can even make it password protected. And there are ways in 17 Hats to automatically send an email with tokens that gives the password and all their client portal link, so it can be automated for you. So this is an optional feature. Some people like it, some don't use it. It's up to you. Online scheduling. So like I had mentioned earlier, this is a pretty new feature in 17 Hats. For all those of us that work virtual, we don't like going back and forth trying to schedule a time to meet or talk. I am definitely not a fan of the, are you available on Monday at 10? No, I'm not available on Monday at 10. How about Tuesday at 2? No, that's not going to work. How about Wednesday? This prevents that back and forth. Now, there are other apps out there that you may have already been using, and if you like them, you can stay with them. Because this feature is pretty new, I will be honest, I still haven't switched over to this online scheduling because if it ain't broken, don't fix it. That's how I feel. I haven't had the time to play with setting something up when my current system is working fine. But I did want to show you how that works. You can set up different services and they can be connected to workflows. So that way you can take advantage of that automation and that streamlining that it offers. So this is an example where I have two services selected. The process will select which one they want to book. And then it takes them to a calendar where they can select the time zone. These are the appointments that are available for that day. Once they click on that, they can then enter their contact info and get the confirmation. So documents. In 17 Hats, the documents are all the ones that I've been talking about earlier, like the estimates, the questionnaires, the contracts, etc. You can have a view of all of your documents, regardless of project, for the period, for the past year, things that are past due, things that are due coming up. And you can view them by type, by invoices, quotes, contracts. You can do filters and searches for them and create new ones right from here. Now, 17 Hats does offer different integrations because this app is not accounting specific. A lot of their integrations may not apply to those of us in the field, but the ones that I do use are the QuickBooks Online integration and the Zapier integration. And if you haven't tried out Zapier, you really should check it out because it can save you so much time getting your apps to talk to each other and do things automatically. So these are the integrations as of October 2019. They can add and expand as time goes. So that's why if you're watching this far into the future, I recommend that you check out their website to see what new integrations there may be. So support, this is something that's very important. You need to have customer support. If something doesn't work right or you don't know how to do something, you need to be able to get the help that you need. And this is actually one of the reasons why 17 Hats won over other apps that were accountant specific, and it was the support. The support is available via intercom chat. That's this little icon that is at the bottom of every page that you are in 17 Hats. So regardless of where you are, if you click that, it opens this window here where you can start a conversation with support or you can search for answers in their guide. At first, I was a little turned off that there was no phone support, but after being with them for a year and a half, I don't need phone support because with other companies that had a number to call, I had the problem of being on hold, wasting time for goodness knows how long, waiting to get a human, and then getting a human that did not know the answer to my issue. So by using the chat, I can be focusing on something else, and if it's during business hours, they tend to reply pretty quickly. And I found that they really know this stuff, or at least they know where to find this stuff. And one of the things that their support does that nobody else has done, and I wish that other companies Intuit, Listen Up, does this, is if it's something that needs to be escalated or they need a developer or programmer to reply, and they say, I will update you, they do. Nobody else has done that for me. All these other companies that I either have to call back to follow up on their status or they'll say they update me and never do. I once had an issue that was very technical and it required a programmer. 2 weeks later, they gave me an update. Unsolicited, I had forgotten about it and I was blown away. So I find that their support has been excellent. You can also send them emails. There's a getting started guide that looks like this. So when you sign up with 17 Hats, it can baby steps walk you through setting up and understanding the different sections. And if you don't want it, you can turn it off. There are tutorials. There are free webinars. There's 17 Hats University that's open to anybody, and they have 2 tracks of webinars. One is on maximizing the software, so learning how to use workflows or custom fields. And then the other one is on business that can help anybody, regardless of what app you use, like how to have good sales conversations, or how to write emails that convert, etc. And there's also an user community in Facebook. It's a very active Facebook group where other users can post questions, comments, and you can I have learned a lot from being in that group. So the next steps, if you like it, sign up. This link in here can give you a discount of 10% off annual or higher price plans. There is a monthly plan. That one doesn't get you a discount, but it's a good option if you are not sure if this is for you. They do offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can test it with confidence. But I have found that everybody that signs up, the difference between those that love it and those that cancel are those that set it up. So that's the important next step. You need to use it. Don't just sign up and try to come back to it later, because otherwise you'll just get overwhelmed or you'll never get around to it. But if you use it, you will really enjoy it. So I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, you can contact me via email right here. I am sorry that I talked so much, but I am very excited about this product. And so many bookkeepers had asked me to do like demos or walkthroughs and show them. So I figured, hey, why not just finally sit down and do a recording of this. If you find that there's something important that I did not cover, feel free to let me know. Maybe I'll record a separate video about it. I hope you enjoy it and have a great day.